This is how most people start their day. When you go online with a search engine, you want to find something just the way you would find your friend. You want the first result to be exactly the one you're looking for. But can you do that with online business? One random search and there you go, thousands of products. Not too helpful. Even using product filters, how can you expect buyers to choose, especially buyers from overseas? How can we expect hardworking, responsible suppliers to stand out from all the thousands of others? Well, some smart young men think they have this all figured out. Brian Hager used to work for Global Sources, one of the biggest B2B platforms in the world. He got an idea 2 years ago and quit his job along with another Global Sources executive.
We started to see some of the pain points that are present in an Alibaba-like model or a Global Sources-like model, and that is it's very difficult for overseas buyers from a website, from basic information on a supplier, to do the due diligence that they need to conduct. So we saw the opportunity with social networking and this idea of e-commerce together, and made the decision to leave Global Sources to kind of merge these two concepts together.
So they started a company called Tradesparq, which mainly focuses on export-oriented online B2B businesses. So how does the idea of social network sites like Facebook, LinkedIn, and Sina Weibo merge with the idea of the B2B internet? Just like many other SNS-related websites, first, users are allowed to log in onto Tradesparq via their SNS accounts. Once you're in, you can import your contacts in or invite your friends to build your network of contacts inside Tradesparq. You can follow and be followed. You can chat, you can share anything, including business recommendations. Most B2B platforms featuring SNS just stop there, but Tradesparq goes far beyond that. After typing the keywords for products you need, you get the search results, which of course can go on for dozens of pages. But crucially, they're not just a plain list, but are organized according to your friends on the system. The first layer of recommendations is the suppliers who are directly connected to you on Tradesparq. In other words, your friends on Tradesparq. And the second tier will be those suppliers that your friends know or have done businesses with. And the third are the ones with which you have absolutely no connections.
My experience in trade is that trade runs on trust. And social networks promote trust, okay? So for example, if I know you and you know maybe a MP3 player supplier, and I can ask you about that MP3 player supplier, that means something to me because I trust you and you know about that particular person.
等于说在海量信息中它已经帮你先一轮挑选了呀，已经帮你先筛选了一轮，你可以在这一堆的就是比如说整体的是 A， 我给你先精选出一个 B， 你可以在 B 里再进行二次筛选啊。比你在 A 里盲目的筛选不是要从速度上更快，那么这个交易讲时机嘛。
This is also good for suppliers because their products will always float to the top within the network. Users are buying the idea.
我看中了 Tradesparq 呢，也是在社交这块，通过好友这块，通过信息互动这块来形成一个交易平台。这样的话，这个 business 的一个成功性会更大一些。阿里巴巴呢，给我感觉呢，还是一个商业化比较重。
Using the SNS approach, Tradesparq aims to solve the biggest problem facing Alibaba, the credibility.
在阿里巴巴你找到一个商家，可能并不是完全知道说它的这个可信度到底有多高。那么 Tradesparq 它希望能够加入社交这种朋友之间关系或者商家之间的这些联系的话，它希望能够提高这种信任度。
We've talked to several users via email, of course. Most of them told us that although they think the unique model is great, they haven't yet been able to take full advantage of it. Why? Because they don't yet have many friends on Tradesparq. Its service theory is fine, but it won't be completely effective until the user foundation becomes big enough to deliver precise results. Currently, there are 130,000 users registered on Tradesparq, still too small to compute accurate recommendation numbers.
说电商是一个很难的一个事儿，做社区也是一个很难的事儿。实际上，做社区一个难的就是说，你怎么把你希望加入社区里面的这些人都加入到社区里面来。我觉得这个本身就是一个很有难度，因为做电商难度在于说你怎么把东西卖出去。
Brian and his team don't regard building up a community as a hardcore problem, though, because after all, it is a social network.
Because we are a social network and because we're viral, which means when somebody comes in, they can upload their contacts and they can invite people. Just yesterday, we had someone who came in, uploaded over 1,000 contacts, 1,150 contacts, and invited all of them to come onto the platform.
But will those 1,150 contacts all join Tradesparq? That's a question mark because nowadays social networks such as Facebook, Twitter, and Weibo virtually are the internet. Can Brian be sure all of those new contacts will want to join Tradesparq?
比如说像 Facebook 现在号称是1个月的活跃用户，就是所谓的月度活跃用户，就是1个月至少用1次的，已经有10个亿了。那有些用户可能2-3个月用1次，那可能这种用户就更多了。就是互联网的重度用户基本上都在 Facebook 上。那么可以想见这个池子已经非常大了。那么大到一定什么样的程度呢？就是你没有办法去分拣了。就小规模的网站，你可以说得出来啊，这大致是一批什么人。那 Facebook 的用户你已经说不出来，他是什么样的人会上 Facebook？ 这个用户大到这么大一个程度上，对他来说其实已经意义不大了。
Still, the traffic on Tradesparq is increasing by 25% every month. How come?
So a lot of our traction comes from content we have online, right? So if someone goes into Google and searches for, mahogany coffee table, then we probably have products on mahogany coffee tables, and they can come to the site and see the information, and if they're interested, sign up, right? So SEO is a big part of it, or search engine optimization, I should say.
Search engine optimization is one of those things that internet insiders love to dignify with an abbreviation. They call it a VIT, a very important tool. And investors are already showing some confidence in it. The company has already taken in $750,000 worth of investment, mainly from the US. One industry expert told Money Talks that this was the smallest investment in the B2B industry she has ever heard of. Still, it validates investors' interests.
美国人会去尝试，更多的会去尝试不是社交的 B2 网站，而是基于社交产生的一些公司。你比如说那个游戏就是这样的啊，游戏在 Facebook 上产生了一个 Zynga 这样的公司，所以整个概念是说建立在是说我在 Facebook 上面这样的基础上，能不能再打造一个上市公司，或者是再打造一个什么样的 model， 这样的话会有人有兴趣的。
With the business model now established, Tradesparq expects itself to be profitable by the end of this year. So, what are the revenue resources? How does quick and easy search make money?
Tradesparq is now launching a paid subscription service to help buyers and suppliers better understand one another.
This product is the export or customs data that come from the US. So there are millions and millions of containers that are shipped from China or other locations into the US. And this customs data is actually very useful for the buyers and the suppliers, not only to find potential customers with such a large database, right? To find potential customers, but also to look for trends within their industry, right? Are imports falling, rising, right? And what are the geographical areas that this is getting sent into, etc. So.
The data is collected from U.S. Customs records released monthly. Compiling those will take a lot of work, and Tradesparq hasn't yet decided what to charge for it. Another new service will be VIP promotions. Remember the pyramid we showed you earlier? VIP members in each layer can have their names popped up to the top of that layer of searches. That may sound unfair, but that's the business. Alibaba charges around 3,600 yuan a year for this service, but Tradesparq only charges 2,000. The website now has hundreds of VIP members, helped along by a special offer. They'll give a complete refund to suppliers whose sales volume is less than $20,000 a year. Is this perhaps selling the service too cheaply? And the third revenue stream is, of course, it is advertising. Precisely placed advertising can be compiled from buyers' purchasing records and Tradesparq's own information. Everything is about precision on Tradesparq, and even those revenue sources can't be spared. But as a user, have you ever considered what you may have missed out?
国外的一个人出了一本书，也挺有意思的。他觉得现在包括 Google 啊，像百度啊，说所有的这个网站 Facebook， 你在上面可能看到都是你感兴趣的东西，可能不感兴趣的他都帮你屏蔽掉了。但是像那本书，他的讨论是说，如果真的是这样，大家都在往这个方向去做的话，实际上每个人的在互联网上生活都是生活在各自的 bubble 这个泡沫里面，因为已经没有交集了。让所有背后的这些算法。不是我们用户自己定义的，都是机器在帮你定义了。所以说，机器到底为你屏蔽了什么东西，我们用户完全不知道了。对，所以他这本书的那个副标题就是那个互联网向你隐藏了什么。